Lesson 9.4, Multiplying Special Cases. There are two kinds of special cases we're going to discuss, and we have the square of a binomial, and that means if you have parentheses with a plus b and then a square, what you're going to do is you're going to square the first number, and then you're going to multiply the first number by the second number times 2, which is this right here. And then next we're going to square the last number. And then we have what's called the difference of squares, where you have the a and the b, the first number and the second number are the same, but the last symbols in the middle are going to be opposite, so plus and minus. And if that's a true statement, then you're going to have only to square the first number and the last number and put a minus sign in between. And we'll go over this as we do our problems coming up right now. So we have find each square. So example 1. So step 1, square first number. So that would be x squared. Step 2, multiply two times the first number times the second number. So it's going to be plus, because there's a plus sign in the middle, plus 2 times x times 7. And step 3, square the second number. So 7 squared, so we'll put plus 7 squared. So our answer should be, we have x squared plus, well, 2 times x times 7 is 14x, and 7 squared is 49. And we'll do this again. We'll try it again. We have 4 of these going. So again, we're going to square the first, which would be x squared. And then we put a minus sign on this one, minus, and then we go 2 times the first one times the second one. And then we square the 7, the last one. So let's try it. X squared, there's nothing else you can do to it. So minus 2 times x times 7, which would be still 14x. Now here's where you get tricky from the first one, from the second one. It's a negative. So negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49. Let's try C. You're going to square the first number. There's a plus sign. You're going to multiply 2 times 5y times 1, and then square the second number. It's a positive, so you can just put a plus sign. 5y and then squared. Remember, when you have a square on the outside, you have to distribute the square to everything. So 5 squared would be 25, and then y squared, plus 2 times 5 times 1 is 10, and then we have a y. And then 1 squared is 1. Now let's try D. First squared is 7m squared. There's a minus sign, so we'll go minus. And then we'll go 2 times 7m times 2p. And then on the last part, you have to square the last number with the negative on that. So it's a negative 2p squared. We're going to square the 7 squared, which would be 49, and then the m, and we square it. 2 times 7 is 14, times 2 is 28, and then an m. And then negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, and then we square the p. Example 2, it's a word problem. It's science coming back to you. We have among Labrador retrievers, the dark fur gene D and the yellow gene Y is recessive. This means that the dog with at least one dominant gene, DD or DY, will have dark fur. A dog with 2 recessive genes, YY, will have yellow fur. The Punnett square at the right models the possible combinations of colored genes that the parents who carry both genes can pass on to their offspring. Since YY is 1/4 of the outcomes, the probability that a puppy has yellow fur is 1/4. They also are going to give you on your homework the expression needed to do your equations, and we have the formula for probability of getting with this Punnett square is 1/2 D plus 1/2 Y squared. So we are going to do all the math for it like we did on example 1. So you're going to take the first one and we're going to half D and we're going to square it. And then we're going to go 2 times 1/2 D times 1/2 Y. And then we're going to square the second number, which would be 1/2 Y, and square it. Maybe you know or don't know what 1/2 times 1/2 squared is. That would be 1/2 times 1/2, which equals 1/4. So it'd be 1/4 D squared. And then this would be 2 times 1/2, which is 1, times another half, which would be 1/2. And then you take your D and your Y and you multiply it, which would be dy. And then you have your half Y squared, so a half squared is 1/4. And then Y squared is Y squared. And here's your answer. Example 3. Example 3 looks like you could do easy. You could put it on a calculator, but they want you to do it a little different. So what they're going to have you do is they're going to, instead of having it 52 squared and you go 52 times 52, you're going to show your math by making a parenthesis that's a square. So you're going to round 52, and the closest round number to 52 is 50. And then you're going to add 2, because 50 plus 2 is 52. And then you're going to square it. Then you have to show each step. Yes, kids, you need to show your steps for homework. So you're going to go 50 squared plus 2 times 50 times 2, and then square the second number, which would be 2 squared. So 50 squared would be 2,500, and 2 times 50 is 100, times 2 is 200. and then plus 4. And then you add them together, and you get 2704. Yes, it would be easier to show it on a calculator, but they don't want you to do that. We're going to do B together, and we'll leave C alone. B. Again, we're going to round 29. We're going to round 29 to the closest round number is 30, so we're going to go 30. And what can we get? 30, we need to subtract 1 this time to get 29, and then we're going to square it. So you're going to go 30 squared minus 2 times 30 times 1. And then we're going to square negative 1. So 30 squared is 900. And then we're going to go 2 times 30 is 60 times 1 is still 60. And then negative 1 squared is positive 1. So 900 minus 60 is 840, plus 1 is 841. Yep, this is what they want you to show. You're going to show it. All right. Now notice that we have 2 sets of parentheses, but they have the same variables, and they have the same numbers on the end, but opposite types of problems, negatives and positives. So on this one, we're just going to do what's called the FL, and that's your first and last, full. So you're going to take your first, which would be t cubed times t cubed, which would be t to the 6. And then you always put a minus sign, always, never changes. And then you go your last, 6 times 6, and 36. And that's all you have to do. B, same idea. It has the same D's and the same 11s, but opposite signs. So we're going to do first, which is D times D, which is D squared. And then you have 11 times 11, which is 121. And there's your answer. Same idea with C. Now we're going to do example 5. You're going to take 82 and round it to 80, and plus 2 this time. But this time we have 78. 80 is closest, but we're going to subtract 2. So we're going to do it first. So 80 times 80 is 6,400. And then 2 times negative 2, or minus sign, 2 times 2 is 4. And then you subtract them, and you get 6,396. Let's try B. So you're going to have 20 minus 2 and 20 plus 2. Yes, again, you're going to show your work. I know it's a lot of hideous work. You don't would rather use a calculator, but on this homework, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to go 20 times 20, which is 400. And then 2 times 2, which is 4. So that would be 396. All right. Goodbye.